Don't drink alone. Part 1. Last call. There's something about drinking alone that invites the darkness. Maybe it's the silence between the sips or the way shadows crawl across the polished wood of the bar. Most people think a pub is the safest place to unwind. But not all stories that start at a bar end with laughter. Some end with a scream, and no one hears it. I never used to drink alone. It's one of those unspoken rules you learn growing up, like never go swimming right after eating, or don't pick up hitchhikers on lonely highways. But rules blur when your world falls apart, and on that particular Friday night, mine had shattered. The place was called a Rusty Tap, a tucked-away bar just 2 blocks from my apartment. I'd passed it for years, but never once went in. That night, however, its flickering neon sign seemed to blink just for me, open, like a whisper calling me out of the cold. Inside, it was dim. A warm haze of cigarette smoke hung in the air, though I hadn't seen anyone light up. The bar was nearly empty. Just a middle-aged man hunched over his beer at the far end, and a woman sitting alone near the jukebox. Her head bobbed gently to the faint static-laced blues song, playing from the speakers. I took a stool near the middle, nodded at the bartender, a tall, gaunt man with sunken eyes and leathery skin. No name tag, no small talk. He simply poured me a whiskey neat, as though he'd already known what I wanted. "Rough night?" he finally asked, his voice like sandpaper over gravel. "Rough year," I replied. He nodded, polished a glass, and walked away. I stared at my reflection in the mirror behind the liquor bottles. Tired eyes, hollow cheeks, a man unraveling at the seams. But it wasn't my own face that unsettled me. It was a figure standing behind me. A tall man, dressed in a black coat and wide-brimmed hat, face obscured in shadow. He didn't move, just stood there, watching. I spun around. Empty. Only the old man and the woman remained, neither paying me any mind. I turned back toward the mirror. Nothing behind me. I told myself it was a drink. I hadn't eaten. I was just exhausted. That's all. But then the jukebox cut out mid-song, the sound crackling into dead silence. Everyone looked up. Even the bartender paused. Then click. The lights above the bar flickered, once, twice, then buzzed back to a dim glow. The woman by the jukebox stood, slowly, and walked straight out the door without a word. The bartender returned. "Happens now and then," he muttered. "Building's old. Power plays tricks." I forced a smile, but my hands trembled slightly around the glass. I decided one more drink. Then I'd leave. The moment I finished, the bartender poured another. I hadn't asked for it. "On the house," he said, not smiling. It was darker outside now. I could see my reflection in the window, but something was off. My reflection wasn't matching me. It was delayed by a second, like a lag on a video call. I raised my hand, and it followed, late. I blinked, leaned closer. The figure in the glass blinked twice. I gasped and backed away, knocking over my stool. The old man at the end of the bar chuckled, but it wasn't a warm sound. It was dry, lifeless, like something remembering laughter rather than feeling it. The bartender came around and helped me up. "It's not unusual," he said calmly. "This place remembers things. Sometimes it shows them to you." "What do you mean?" I whispered. He didn't answer. I didn't drink the second glass. Instead, I left the 10 on the counter and made for the exit. But as I reached the door, my hand wouldn't move. Not couldn't. Wouldn't. My fingers curled inches from the handle, frozen. I turned back. The bar was empty now. No old man. No bartender. The lights above flickered again, brighter this time, illuminating the corners of the bar that had been cloaked in shadow. I saw things then. Shadows that didn't belong to objects. Movement beneath the floorboards. And in the mirror, the man in the black coat was back. But this time, he wasn't behind me. He was in the mirror, staring out with black, sunken eyes. And he smiled. When I finally managed to wrench the door open, I stumbled into the night air, gasping as though I had just escaped drowning. The Rusty Tap stood silent behind me, its neon sign now completely dead. I never saw the bartender again, and I haven't had a drink since. But sometimes when I pass that street, I swear I can hear the jukebox playing the same broken blues song. And once, just once, I saw the man in the black coat, watching from the reflection in a storefront window. I should have never sat down alone that night. Not all spirits come in bottles. Part 2. The third bar stool. They say every bar has its regulars. But what if one of them has been dead for years? And what if he's still waiting for you to sit in his seat? This story comes from a man named Ellis, a former traveling salesman with a past he doesn't like to talk about. He told me his tale in hushed tones, the kind of story you only share when the lights are low and the bottle's half empty. It starts in a dive bar outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, a place called Merrow's. The sign outside was faded, just a single cracked neon letter M still glowing. The place looked like it had been forgotten by time, but inside it was clean, cozy even, smelled of aged wood and warm whiskey. The kind of place you stop in once and somehow always remember. Ellis had a long day. He sat at the bar, ordered a shot of bourbon and a beer back, and took a seat, third stool from the left. The bartender, a short woman with gray-streaked hair and a voice that carried, paused when she saw him settle in. "You might want to pick another seat," she said, drying a glass. Ellis raised an eyebrow. "Why? Someone sitting here?" "Not anymore," she said. "But out of respect, people tend to leave that one alone." Ellis chuckled. "You mean someone died on this stool?" She didn't laugh back. "Not on it. Because of it." She walked away. He stayed in that stool anyway. And for a while, nothing strange happened. A few more patrons trickled in, all locals, judging by how they nodded at each other. But none of them took the seat next to him. Then came the cold. Not a breeze. Not a draft. Just a presence. The kind of cold that prickled the skin, made the hairs on your arms stand up like they were trying to run. Ellis tried to brush it off. But then he noticed a mirror behind the bar. His reflection was alone. The stool to his right, which was occupied by an older man, white beard, leather vest, quiet, wasn't showing up in the mirror. It was empty. He blinked, turned his head. The man was there, silent, sipping a drink that didn't reflect any light. His glass seemed to absorb it instead. Ellis tapped the bar. "Hey, excuse me. You all right?" No answer. He turned back to the bartender. "Who's this guy next to me?" She was already watching. "He's not next to you. Not really." The man slowly turned toward Ellis, his face wrong, like a mask that didn't quite fit the skull underneath, and his eyes sunken, empty, blacker than coal. "Some seats," the bartender said quietly, "aren't meant to be warmed again." Ellis tried to stand, but his legs refused to move. His hands clutched the edge of the bar like they fused the wood. His heart pounded. And then the man beside him whispered, "You saw my stool was open." It wasn't just a voice. It was a sound that crawled into your head, rattling around your brain like nails in a tin can. "I didn't mean to," Ellis started. "You sat," the figure said. "Now we share." Suddenly, pain bloomed in Ellis's chest. A burning, crushing weight. His vision blurred, and he collapsed forward, gasping. Darkness. He woke up hours later, alone in the bar. No patrons. No bartender. Just flickering lights, and the sound of the glass dripping somewhere in the back. And the worst part? He was still in the third stool. He tried to stand again. This time he could, but the wood beneath him was no longer smooth. It was warped, splintered, burnt black, like someone had been cooked alive in that very seat. Ending/cliffhanger. Ellis never drank again. He's sober now. But every night around 11 p.m., he says he hears that same voice in his head. "You sat, now we share." He's terrified of mirrors. And if he enters a bar, for any reason,